A Florida teenager is recovering after having life-altering surgery where doctors amputated her left leg in order to remove a 174-pound growth.
It started happening when I was 2 years old.
Wow.
And then it just started growing bigger as I was growing in age. When I was younger, it was really light, so it wasn't as heavy. But as I got older, it was getting heavier and heavier. But I wasn't having problems walking because I'm limping, but I can still walk.
I always told her, if at one point it becomes between your leg and your life, we will always choose your life. I will not ask you, no discussion, nothing.
Jasmine, the youngest of 7 children, suffered from a rare condition that caused her left leg to grow abnormally and even baffled doctors worldwide.
This is something that started like, we saw that her skin was looking like orange peel skin, like little dents, little holes. At that moment, we took it to the doctor and they just kept telling us, it's gonna go away. Everybody has a little part of their body a little bigger than the other one. So they were not very concerned about it. And we were not either because it was not a large volume at that moment. But we started getting worried as the time progressed. We saw that it was getting larger and larger. And then they started doing some testing, researching and everything. And, they found out that they didn't know where it was. And from that moment on, we started the journey with this challenge. I never call it a handicap. I never called it a disability. I always call it a challenge. And that's how we addressed it all the time. As the time progressed and they were telling us that they didn't know what it was, and then they started going with lymphomatous tumor. That's the closest that they could get to what she had. Her file had been through different parts of the world, and the last one was in vascular abnormalities seminar in Barcelona, Spain. And it has been to Children's of Philadelphia, Boston Clinic of Vascular Abnormalities. The only place that was able to offer us some kind of treatment, something for her, it was Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, Texas. She was part of a clinical trial of this drug that at that moment was being tested. We saw that it was being beneficial. Even with that, it didn't stop the overgrowth. The tumor kept growing bigger and bigger.
Life for Jasmine and her family hasn't been typical, as they have been all over the country seeking treatments as doctors try to figure out what it is. At first, it was thought to be a non-malignant tumor, but then it was discovered to be a rare growth of cells that has traveled around her left leg and then in her abdomen.
It doesn't have all the elements to be called a tumor, but because there is no other medical definition for what she has, they're treating it as a lymphomatous, which is fat tissue lymphomatous tumor with an overgrowth syndrome.
Following multiple surgeries and treatments over the years, the condition continued and the growth got bigger, leading to discomfort both physically and socially for the 14-year-old.
It was really hard for me. I kept getting looked at, judged at. It was really hard. With the surgeries, it was also hard too because I don't know how long I'll be in the hospital for and when I'll get out. Being in the wheelchair, I feel like it's hard for my parents because they have to push me around and they're gonna get exhausted for pushing me around with my leg, with the mass and the tumor and stuff. It was really hard. And when I was in school, I kept getting judged at and looked at as well. And I also got bullied because of my leg. Some people say, oh, look at that girl with the leg, like her leg is big. And some of them ask what happened, but then they just walk away. So with it, it was really hard.
I always complimented Jasmine because she found a way to try to block everything. Many times, yes, I did and wanted to start throwing punches at people. But I know that I just can't go and be fighting everybody that mean stares at my daughter. Many times I asked Jasmine, I said, Jasmine, I want to know how you do it. There's no way that you don't know that they staring at you in a mean way, not in a nice way. I said, but I see you like many times we were in restaurants and she kept eating like nothing. Meanwhile, I was here, angry at people gossiping about Jasmine. Jasmine always responded, I don't care, Dad, you know, just don't care anymore. Many times, my wife is the one that approached people. Hey, why are you staring at my daughter? You already looked at her, just walk away. But I kept telling my wife, just, we can't go and keep fighting everybody. We just can't.
With Jasmine, whenever people stare at her, mom will pounce at anybody. I always tell her, I can't say exactly how you feel. I can't say that I feel what you feel, but I can say with certainty that Jasmine is the toughest out of all of us. Out of everybody, she's had the most surgeries. She's had the most challenges out of all of us. And honestly, as her big sister, it's a big inspiration because I'm like, my sister can do this. But watching Jasmine kind of go through this, once it got to the point where we were seeing that it was really affecting how she was walking and her mobility, that's where we started noticing this is something that's not normal and they're still trying to figure it out. So we need to help her, especially when it came to like getting into bed, like bathing, clothing, shoes, socks, like basic things that, we may take for granted that we could do on our own every day. My sister couldn't do a lot, at a certain point. And things like, buying one pair of shoes, Jasmine couldn't buy one pair of shoes. She had to buy two.
While her family kept Jasmine's spirits up, her condition kept evolving. Just before Christmas, she was admitted to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg, Florida, where doctors performed a 17-hour surgery to remove her leg and stop the growth from continuing. Jasmine is now recovering and defying doctors' expectations.
The predictions that the doctors had given us, we were told that she had a high chance not to come out of surgery alive. One of the things that they mentioned to me is that the return flow of the blood to the heart, the vein is about this thick. Jasmine had thicker veins in her leg, which the risk of her bleeding out was very, very high. Oncology doctor mentioned that they flown units of blood from other places so that they could have it in hand. The anesthesiology part, is like, I can't promise you that your daughter will come out alive. So all of these predictions she overcame. And not only that, they said after surgery, she will be sedated for about a week or two. Most of the time will be sleeping. Well, 8 hours after the surgery, she was out of bed in a reclining chair. A day after, she walked unattended with a walker for 10 feet. The following day, she walked 25 feet, and the PT tech made a bet with Jasmine, and he said, Jasmine, if you get to walk 150 feet, you can do my makeup. And I told Billy, that's his name, I said, Billy, you're in big trouble because Jasmine will go farther than that. And she did. She already did the makeup.
Now Jasmine is home and starting her new life.
I'm gonna have my parents' room, which is the master room, and they're gonna have my room. They painted it pink because I wanted it pink. I can't wait to go home and see my dog. I have a chihuahua. His name is Coco. I miss him.
The family has also donated Jasmine's leg to science to study the rare condition and hopefully get answers, so no one has to go through what she has.
I can help other people that are in my situation because nobody should go through what I went through. Like imagine a 4-year-old going through that. Nobody should go through that. Because I went through that. And I don't want to see that little 4-year-old go through what I went through. Because they should live a normal life. And I want that for everybody. Not just somebody who has the same problem as me. I want that for everyone.
The family has also started a GoFundMe to help pay for medical expenses and for Jasmine's future, as the brave young lady begins a new life and will eventually get fitted for a prosthetic leg. She and her family hope her story also sheds a light on others to be kinder.
I think just one thing, like, we just want her story to like inspire people to be compassionate, because she's had such a rough time, like you said, with the stairs and with the bullying and stuff like that. Talking to those bullies that bullied her, personally, they can eat rocks, but I would just rather people know that it doesn't take a lot to be compassionate. It doesn't take a lot to be kind. Your life would be better if you were kind to others, especially to kids like Jasmine, who might need a little bit more compassion in their lives than the average person. We just want her story to inspire that. That's what we hope to inspire as a family, is, showing that compassion, showing that family a closeness, and just inspiring others to, be kind and be gentle. And that's all we can ask for.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Sal Bono.